Hello, I'm the art teacher. I'm going to show you how I can teach third graders how to do sunflowers. I'm first starting off with showing them some sunflowers of one of my favorite artists, Vincent van Gogh. Here's one of his sunflower pictures, very famous picture. And I always start off with the elements of art and the principles of design that I see. In this one, I'm keeping it simple. The elements of art are color and shape. He's using lots of yellow, lots and lots of yellow, and a little bit of green, and some different shades of yellow, some different values going on. So you could say also he's using value as well as the element of art. But I'm sticking with just the simple shapes and color. And to create the principle of design that I see, there's actually two I see. One is unity and variety, which kind of work together. The unity comes in by the use of the shapes and the colors, but the variety is also with the green added and with the little, looks like the sunflowers are dying, some of them are. It creates a lot of variety in here, but that offsets the colors and the shapes that are the unifying factor of the whole picture. So there you have the elements of art and the principles of design. So I'm going to use this as a kicking off point. So what I do is I get the, we're going to be doing a glue chalk picture here. So what I do is I start off with a piece of black paper, and then if you're doing this at home, you can use any type of shape that's circular. It could be a cup, a lid of anything. You can, and sunflower centers are usually pretty big, and you can put it in the center. I like putting mine off to the side a little bit. To me, it makes it a little more interesting. And then I take my pencils and I trace it. And you want to keep all your pencil marks fairly light, so you can still, when I tilt my paper, you can see that where it shows up. Now I'm going to zoom in a little closer so you can see how all this works. When you zoom in closer, you can see it a little better. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start here at one direction. Well, actually, I'm going to start direction going straight away from me, right here, and from the beginning of the edge of that center of the sunflower, and I'm just going to draw a curved line going up. And I don't know whether you can see that really. That's kind of hard to see. But there you go. And then you do the other side that matches it. Just like that. Now what I do is I turn it just a little bit, and then I can do the next one. And I'm going to try and keep these sunflower petals even. So you can see how that works. And I keep turning my paper so my petals are always going away from the center. And if it's not quite even enough, don't worry about it. Not all sunflowers. There are some sunflowers that are actually very irregular. So it's okay whatever you do. Art is one of the few places where it's okay to make mistakes. And actually I always tell my students that it's okay to make mistakes, because mistakes are the very things that make you succeed, as long as you're learning from them. So you can see how this looks so far. Now when I get to this part of the paper, you can see how I'm actually going off the edge. I'm not trying to make the petals squish in and fit. I'm actually drawing them out where they would naturally be. Another way of doing that is actually putting this on another piece of paper underneath it and actually drawing it out that direction so you can see it, which you may have to do to get more practice. Now I've got a space here probably for 2 more petals, like that and like that. Now I look back at it and I'm going to ask myself, does it look pretty even? I actually think it looks pretty even. I like that. Now the next step to do this is for gluing. You take your glue bottle, remove the cap here, not remove the cap, open the cap up, and I clear off any of the glue, and I squeeze it a little bit and see if it's working. This one's a little stopped up, so I clean it out again with my fingernail. There's a little glue stuck right there. I open it up again. I think it's pretty good. Now I'm going to take this glue bottle and make it act like a pen, and I'm going to draw a glue line all the way around. Now you do have to be careful with a few things. One, make sure the glue line is thin. You don't want a really thick one. In the center, I'm going to put some dots, and these are going to represent the seeds of my sunflower. Now obviously I'm not going to do as many seeds as a real sunflower has, because they have hundreds and hundreds of them. I'm just going to do a little representation for when we add chalk later on. There we go. Now from here I'm just going to trace the glue, tracing the petals of the sunflower. And you do have to be careful when you go to the edge. Now if you accidentally don't cover the lines exactly, it's okay. Don't worry about it. If you make a mistake, leave it alone. If your glue accidentally goes, oh, I made a mistake right there, that's okay. Leave it alone. Any mistakes you make will just add to your picture. And you never know what it might look like once you get done. Now, hopefully you will keep the petals of your flower really large. If you do them really small, it's not going to work out as well. And as you can tell, drawing and gluing doesn't take that long. Almost done here. I kind of feel like my glue bottle is stopping up some, so I'm hoping I can finish this with the glue that I have. Okay, I've just got one more petal to go, and you'll probably notice how I stopped when I went off the edge of the paper, because I don't want the glue to go on my board, my table. So now here comes the waiting part. This is done today. Now you have to let this dry overnight, or at least a couple of hours, depending on if you have time to doing that. I usually have my students do this, and the next time they come back, it will be dried like this. So this one is dried. You can see it pretty good. And now we're going to do our chalk on top of this. Now, I don't want my chalk to get onto my board here. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cover this with a piece of big drawing paper. So if I have any chalk that accidentally goes off onto the board, this will protect it. So keep your work area nice and clean. Now, I have some chalk here. I like these cigar boxes. So I have my chalks, and I like getting, this is what I like to do, to let you know what I do, is I usually get the colors I'm going to use, or I think I'm going to use, and I set them on the lid. And if you don't have a lid like this, I have kind of a mixture of different chalks here. If you don't have a lid like I've got, it's okay. You can get a plastic lid, something else. I think that's good. I'm going to want some green, because I am going to put some leaves in there. So I got some green there. See if I have a different color, orange. These are actually two different colors. So as you can see, just getting some different colors there. Mostly yellows. And I think that's going to be I think that's going to be it. So let me move this to the side. What you can do is, you start with one petal here. And you just brush the yellow in right in there. And I'm planning on doing this, what I'm doing with this petal, with all my petals. And I'm trying to do this in real time for you, so you can see how long it actually takes. And I could actually do a little more effort into maybe being a little more creative in what I want to do, or maybe even get a sunflower that I want to copy. But for right now, I'm going to just try and keep it easy and simple for you. Something a little more, just so that you can have something that's somewhat successful. And when I say successful, a picture that you like. A picture when someone looks at it, they go, wow, that's a nice sunflower. So that's what we're looking at here. Something you can do pretty quick. Of course, a lot of artwork that is done that's really nice isn't done quickly. This is a kind of a darker orange. Not my darkest orange, but it's a darker orange. It's a darker. Okay, it's not one of my darkest oranges. It's not one of my lightest oranges. It's somewhere in between. You can see I'm putting some yellow right in, orange right in the middle of everything. There we go. Now, I'm also going to get something dark in here. I want that to be a darker yellow, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to take my same darker orange I used here, put a little bit on top right down, and I'm going to see if I can't go down to the bottom. And then you notice I'm not filling in everything. I'm just kind of sketching it in there really quick. Don't try to overwork your pictures here. You're just trying to keep it simple. Let me see right here. And now I'm going to put my yellow right on top of that. So I'm kind of mixing my colors. And now this way I'm mixing my orange, my yellow right on top of my orange. The glue is going to act as almost like a batik, where you're going to have a black line showing up in between all the color. Here we go. Now here's the really messy part. I'm taking my fingers here, and let me see if I can zoom in really close so you can see what's going on here. Okay, there it is. Whoa, wrong way, sorry. So you take your finger and you just rub inside that one shape. Then you can go to the next shape. Now I'm not doing these petals back here because I want them to be a little bit darker. So as you can see in real time, I'm just turning this around so you can see how this works. How this works in real time. Now you have to keep your wits about you. You just can't keep just doing it and just talking away like I am. You really have to think about what you're doing. And my flower petals, I'm not letting these flower petals go just the way they are. I'm actually going to add something else to them. Okay. Now I'm going to go do the center one, the back row. They don't take as long. Okay, almost done. Now that I did that, let's back it up a little bit so you can see a better picture. You can see how it looks there. I really want these petals to be brighter, and I want these other petals to be a little darker. So all I need to do is get a lighter yellow, if I can find one. Put a little bit of, I don't have to cover it all in, just put a little bit up there. And I'm kind of trying to do on the same side so they will all look very similar. Alright. And for the back ones, I've got this color here. Let me see how this looks. See how I tested it over here on the side just to see how it looks. I'm going to add a little bit of this darker orange in here. So if you can find a darker orange in there, that works really good. You can see how the black lines are really showing up, the glue lines. That works really good. Now I might use this same color for the inside here a little bit. The inside for the seeds. The head, I think they call it the head of the sunflower. Okay, now that I've got that done, I'm going to go back in and do the brighter petals first. And if it gets a little dusty, you can blow on it a little bit. But be careful when you're inside the house. It can get really messy. We don't want that to be a problem for your parents. Now, rub my hands together. Now I'm going to do the darker ones. Oh, I'm also trying to keep my hands away from the black paper here because I don't want a bunch of fingerprints over here. So be careful about that. Okay, now if I'm pretty much, I think this is pretty good. Now I'm going to do the inside here, which is kind of a brown, but I'm going to start off lighter. So I'm going to do some orange first, and I'm kind of doing it in a circular fashion, and I'm even going to do yellow. But then I'm going to do brown, a lighter brown. And then I've got a darker brown. And my darkest brown, I'll put on the outside edge. And a little bit in the center. And let me go back to that darker orange. And I'm going to take my finger and let's smooth it all out. It all blends together really good. Now I'm going to pick this whole thing up and blow on it off the way. There we go. And I also like doing this. I like putting some highlights. Let me get my white going. You don't have to put the white in every single petal. Okay, let me take a look at that. Not too bad. And if you want to do some leaves, you can just draw them in there. You don't really have to do the glue, although if you wanted to, you could have drawn the leaves and then do glue on top of it. But you could just do sunflower leaves are kind of jagged on the edge. So if you wanted to do some green, mixing up the green is always good. Never stick with just one color. Don't be afraid of blending colors. Just jump right in there. Even some turquoise or blue-green. And then sweep away from the flower. Just like that. Just like that. And now, if you have some fingerprints here, if you can't brush them off, cover them up with leaves. Now, with my leaves here, I can always take something that's either black. Let's see how black will work. To put the veins in there, you can even use a little bit of white. Put that in there. And there is your sunflower. Let's back it up a little bit. There is your sunflower, a la Van Gogh. And as you can tell, it didn't take too long, almost like 20 minutes. That's with the explanation, so maybe pare it down to 15 minutes. Shouldn't take too long. And now what I'd like to do is spray this with a coating so the chalk doesn't come off. It's some sort of clear coating that your art teacher or your parents can get for you. And that's it for me, and see you next time.